And recording.
We want our children to believe that inherently all men are good.
But children know that they are not always good. And often, even when they are, they would prefer not to be.
Safe stories mention neither death nor aging.
The limitations to existence.
Nor the wish for life or death.
Fairy tale, by contrast, presents the child squarely with the basic human predicaments. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Who is the fairest of them all?
And the mirror replied, "You are, my queen."
But Snow White grew more and more fair, and the queen asked the mirror once again,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?
And this time the mirror replied, "Though you are beautiful, my queen, Snow White is now the fairest in all the land."
The queen was enraged and jealous of Snow White's beauty, so she summoned her huntsman and had him bring Snow White into the forest to kill her.
Once there was a mother duck who had 6 eggs, or so she thought. For one day she realized she had 7 eggs. Suddenly, they all began to hatch, and she was left with 6 beautiful baby ducklings, and one very ugly duckling. Well, that ugly duckling was teased and taunted by his brothers and sisters so much that he wished to run far, far, far away, and so he did. He ran as far and as fast as he could until he came to a pond, and on that pond was a bevy of swan. He was jealous of their beauty.
The queen was again enraged to find that Snow White was still alive. So she made a plan. She gathered a basket of apples, poisoned them, and brought them to the cottage where Snow White lived.
Snow White was so intrigued by this beautiful red apple that she took it and ate it.
No!
The ugly duckling looked into the pond and found that he had transformed into a beautiful swan. The other swans saw him and welcomed him into their family. And they flew into the air and lived happily ever after.
But what about the queen?
Snow White gave the queen red-hot shoes to wear, and she danced.
She danced.
Until she died.
She died.
She died.
She died.
But was that fair?
The question for the child is not, do I want to be good?
But who do I want to be like?
Who do I want to be like? Once there were three brothers.
And an old woman came one day and knocked on their door.
And the youngest brother, Joseph, answered the door and offered her something to eat.
After she had eaten, the old woman said,
Take your axe and make for yourself a pair of wooden moccasins. And in these moccasins, you will be able to run faster than a bird.
And so he did. Joseph took his axe and made himself a pair of wooden moccasins, and in them he ran faster than a bird.
When Joseph's brothers saw this, they were very angry and jealous. So they gathered up the wood chips that Joseph had dropped and made moccasins for themselves.
And in these moccasins, they were able to run even faster than Joseph.
The next day, the old woman returned and knocked again.
Joseph answered the door and gave her something else to eat.
And after she had eaten, she said,
Take your axe and make for yourself a dugout canoe. And in this canoe, you will be able to soar on the water like a bird.
And so he did. Joseph took his axe and he made himself a dugout canoe. And in that canoe, he soared across the surface of the water like a bird.
Whoosh, grr, whoosh, grr.
But Joseph's brothers saw what he had done, and they were jealous. So they picked up the wood pieces and made for themselves a canoe.
And in this canoe, they were able to soar even faster than Joseph over the water.
Grr, whoosh, grr, whoosh. This made Joseph very angry. So he went out into the woods and he found the old lady and offered her something to eat.
and after she had eaten, she said,
Take your axe and make for yourself another canoe. And in this canoe, you will be able to fly like a bird.
And so he did this. He made himself another dugout canoe. But before he got into the canoe, he gathered up all the wood chips and he burned them so that his brothers couldn't follow him. Then he got into his brand new dugout canoe and he traveled far, far away, flying into the sky. Swan.
apple,
Canoe.
who do I want to be like?